7 energy vampires to avoid after 70. Protecting your golden years. Do you ever feel drained after interacting with certain family members? We often associate family with love and support, but as we enter our 70s and beyond, it's crucial to recognize that some relationships can be detrimental to our well-being. Our time and energy become precious commodities, and we need to protect them fiercely. This video isn't about cutting ties with everyone, but about setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own peace. We'll explore 7 types of energy vampires you might want to avoid after 70 and how to gracefully navigate these challenging family dynamics. Stay tuned until the end for practical tips on setting boundaries without burning bridges. Number 1. The chronic complainer. We all have bad days, and occasional venting is a normal part of life. It's human nature to seek support and understanding when we're facing challenges. However, the chronic complainer takes this to an extreme. They don't just vent occasionally, they see the world through perpetually gray-tinted glasses. Every minor inconvenience becomes a major catastrophe, every setback an insurmountable obstacle. The weather is always too hot or too cold, the traffic is always too heavy, the service at the restaurant is always too slow, nothing is ever right, and they seem to find a dark cloud hovering over every silver lining. Spending time with them can leave you feeling emotionally drained and utterly pessimistic. Their negativity is infectious, and it can be difficult to shake off even after the interaction has ended. You might find yourself starting to see the world through their negative lens, focusing on the problems rather than the possibilities. Remember, you're not obligated to absorb their negativity. You are not responsible for fixing their problems or changing their perspective. Your emotional well-being is paramount, and protecting it should be a priority, especially as you enter your 70s and beyond. Your time and energy are precious, and you deserve to spend them on activities and relationships that uplift you, not drag you down. One strategy for dealing with the chronic complainer is to try redirecting the conversation to something positive. When they start complaining, gently steer the conversation towards a more positive topic. Ask them about something good that happened to them recently, or share a pleasant experience of your own. Sometimes, a simple change of subject can break the cycle of negativity. If redirecting the conversation doesn't work, it's perfectly acceptable to politely excuse yourself. You can say something like, "I understand you're feeling frustrated, but I need to take a break from this conversation right now." You don't need to offer lengthy explanations or apologies. Prioritizing your own well-being is not selfish, it's essential. By setting boundaries and limiting your exposure to the chronic complainer's negativity, you protect yourself from its draining effects and preserve your own peace of mind. Number 2. The unsolicited advisor. This relative believes they know best about everything. They offer a constant stream of advice, even when you haven't asked for it, on topics ranging from your diet and exercise routine to your financial investments and even your choice of curtains. They might tell you what you should be eating, how you should be exercising, where you should be investing your money, and even what color your living room walls should be. While their intentions might be good, perhaps they genuinely believe they're helping you. Their constant interference can feel incredibly controlling and undermine your independence, particularly as you navigate the complexities of life after 70. You've lived a full life, made your own decisions, and earned the right to chart your own course without unsolicited interference. This constant barrage of advice, even if well-intentioned, can feel like a subtle erosion of your autonomy and decision-making power. It can leave you feeling as though your own judgment and experience are being disregarded, which can be particularly frustrating in your later years. The unsolicited advisor often doesn't seem to realize they're crossing a boundary. They might see their advice as helpful guidance, stemming from a place of care and concern. They might even believe they're preventing you from making mistakes or helping you live a better life. However, this lack of awareness doesn't diminish the negative impact their behavior can have on you. It's essential to remember that you have the right to make your own choices, even if others disagree with them. Your life is your own, and you are the ultimate authority on how you choose to live it. One effective strategy for dealing with the unsolicited advisor is to acknowledge their concern while firmly reiterating your right to make your own decisions. You can say something like, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm comfortable with my current approach." Or, "Thank you for the advice, but I've already given this matter a lot of thought and I'm happy with my decision." This approach acknowledges their input without allowing them to dictate your actions. It also sets a clear boundary while maintaining a respectful tone. If the unsolicited advice persists, you might need to be more direct. You can say something like, "I understand you want what's best for me, but I need you to respect my decisions. I'm not asking for advice on this matter. It's important to be assertive and clear in your communication, ensuring the unsolicited advisor understands that you are not seeking their input and that you expect them to respect your autonomy." Remember, setting boundaries is not about being rude. It's about protecting your own well-being and maintaining healthy relationships. By setting clear boundaries with the unsolicited advisor, you can preserve your independence and enjoy your golden years on your own terms. Number 3. The emotional blackmailer. This relative uses guilt and manipulation to get what they want. They are masters of emotional manipulation, employing a range of tactics designed to make you feel obligated to comply with their wishes. They might subtly imply that you're a bad person if you don't do what they want, or they might exaggerate their own vulnerability to evoke your sympathy. Common phrases in their arsenal include, "If you really loved me, you would, after all I've done for you," or "You're the only one I can depend on." These statements are carefully crafted to trigger feelings of guilt and obligation, making it difficult for you to refuse their requests. They often play the victim, portraying themselves as helpless and reliant on your generosity, even if this portrayal is far from the truth. They might sulk, withdraw, or become passive-aggressive when they don't get their way, further intensifying the pressure on you to give in. Their behavior creates a toxic dynamic where your actions are dictated by their emotional manipulation rather than your own genuine desires. This type of emotional manipulation can be particularly challenging to navigate in your 70s and beyond. After a lifetime of prioritizing family relationships, you might feel an ingrained sense of duty to cater to the needs of your relatives. You might also be more susceptible to feelings of guilt, especially if the emotional blackmailer is someone you care deeply about. However, it's crucial to recognize these tactics for what they are: attempts to control your behavior and exploit your good nature. Your well-being and peace of mind are paramount, and it's essential to protect yourself from these manipulative behaviors. Don't fall prey to the guilt trips and manipulative tactics. It's important to remember that you are not responsible for their emotions or their problems. You have the right to say no without feeling guilty. You are not obligated to sacrifice your own well-being to appease their manipulative behavior. Clearly state your boundaries and refuse to be manipulated. Be assertive and direct in your communication. Let them know that you recognize their manipulative tactics and that you will not tolerate them. You might say something like, "I understand you want me to do this, but I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not going to be manipulated into doing something I don't want to do." Reinforce your boundaries by consistently refusing to engage in their manipulative games. If they resort to sulking or passive-aggressive behavior, don't give in. Remain firm in your refusal, and eventually they will likely realize that their tactics are no longer effective. It's also important to set limits on their access to you. If their manipulation becomes excessive or unbearable, you might need to reduce contact or even distance yourself from them entirely. Protecting your emotional well-being should be your top priority, especially in your golden years. By refusing to be manipulated and by setting firm boundaries, you reclaim control over your own life and protect yourself from the damaging effects of emotional blackmail. Number 4. The boundary buster. This relative disregards your personal space and boundaries. They operate on a different wavelength when it comes to respecting limits, often acting as if those limits simply don't apply to them. They might show up unannounced, assuming you'll welcome their impromptu visit, regardless of your plans or current activities. They might invite themselves over for dinner, expecting a place at your table without prior arrangement. Or they might even let themselves into your home without knocking, blurring the lines of privacy and personal space. These intrusions, while perhaps unintentional, can be incredibly disruptive and disrespectful, particularly as you navigate the peace and quiet you've earned in your 70s and beyond. You've established a rhythm to your life, a comfortable routine, and these unannounced visits can throw everything off balance. Their disregard for boundaries extends beyond physical space. They might overstay their welcome, lingering long after the conversation has dwindled and you've subtly hinted at your need for some alone time. They seem oblivious to your yawns, your glances at the clock, or your polite attempts to steer them towards the door. They settle in, comfortable in their disregard for your time and energy, leaving you feeling trapped and resentful. This can be especially draining in your later years, when energy levels are precious and the need for quiet time becomes more pronounced. Furthermore, the boundary buster might pry into your private affairs, asking intrusive questions about your finances, your health, or your relationships. They cross the line from polite curiosity to intrusive interrogation, making you feel uncomfortable and exposed. They might offer unsolicited opinions on your life choices, questioning your decisions and judgments, as if you lack the wisdom and experience to manage your own affairs. This can feel incredibly condescending, especially in your 70s and beyond, when you've accumulated a lifetime of knowledge and experience. It's essential to be assertive and communicate your need for boundaries with the boundary buster. While they might be oblivious to their intrusive behavior, clear and direct communication can help them understand the impact of their actions. You can say something like, "I appreciate you wanting to visit, but I would prefer it if you called ahead next time." Or, "I'm happy to chat for a bit, but I have some other commitments later, so I'll need to wrap up our visit soon." Setting these boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, but it's crucial for protecting your personal space and maintaining your sanity. If they continue to disregard your boundaries despite your efforts to communicate them, you might need to limit your interactions. This can be a difficult decision, especially if the boundary buster is a close family member. However, your well-being is paramount, and sometimes limiting contact is the only way to protect yourself from their intrusive behavior. You can reduce the frequency of your visits, shorten the duration of your phone calls, or even choose to communicate primarily through less intrusive means like email or text messages. Remember, you have the right to control who has access to your time, your space, and your energy. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's a necessary act of self-preservation, ensuring you can enjoy the peace and tranquility you deserve in your golden years. Number 5. The drama magnet. This relative thrives on chaos and conflict. They are the eye of the storm, perpetually surrounded by a whirlwind of dramatic events, and they seem to revel in the turmoil. They might manufacture drama out of thin air, exaggerating minor incidents into major catastrophes, or they might actively insert themselves into other people's conflicts, fanning the flames and escalating the tension. They are masters of stirring the pot, creating discord wherever they go, and they often attempt to draw you into their chaotic world. They might call you constantly to recount the latest dramatic episode in their lives, seeking your validation or your participation in their ongoing saga. They might try to enlist you as an ally in their conflicts, pressuring you to take sides and fueling the flames of discord. They thrive on the attention and sympathy the drama generates, and they seem to have an endless supply of stories about betrayal, injustice, and misfortune. Spending time with the drama magnet can be exhausting and emotionally draining. Their constant focus on negativity and conflict can leave you feeling anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed. You might find yourself constantly on edge, anticipating the next dramatic outburst, and you might feel pressured to offer advice or support that you're not equipped to provide. Their chaotic energy can be infectious, disrupting your own peace of mind and pulling you into their vortex of negativity. In your 70s and beyond, when peace and tranquility become paramount, this constant exposure to drama can be particularly detrimental to your well-being. It's crucial to resist the urge to get involved in the drama magnet's chaotic world. While you might feel tempted to offer advice or try to help them resolve their conflicts, it's important to recognize that their drama is often a self-perpetuating cycle. They might not actually be interested in solutions. They might simply thrive on the attention and emotional intensity that drama provides. Attempting to intervene can often backfire, drawing you further into their chaotic web and making you a target for their negativity. One effective strategy for dealing with the drama magnet is to politely decline their invitations to gossip or participate in their conflicts. You can say something like, "I'm sorry to hear you're going through this, but I'm not comfortable getting involved." Or, "I'd rather not discuss other people's private matters." It's important to be firm and consistent in your refusal, setting clear boundaries to protect yourself from their drama. You can also try to redirect the conversation to more positive topics. When they start recounting the latest dramatic episode, gently steer the conversation towards something more neutral, such as the weather, a recent book you've read, or a shared memory. Sometimes, a simple change of subject can break the cycle of negativity and create a more peaceful interaction. If the drama magnet continues to try to draw you into their conflicts, it's perfectly acceptable to limit your contact with them. You might reduce the frequency of your visits, shorten the duration of your phone calls, or even choose to communicate primarily through less intrusive means like email or text messages. Remember, protecting your peace of mind is essential, and sometimes distancing yourself from the drama magnet is the only way to achieve that. Your golden years are a time for peace, tranquility, and positive relationships. Don't let the drama magnet steal your joy or disrupt your well-deserved serenity. Number 6. The constant borrower. This relative is always asking for something. Money, favors, a ride. It could be anything from a small loan to cover an unexpected expense to a significant sum to help them out of a financial bind. Perhaps they frequently ask for favors, like picking up groceries, running errands, or helping them with household chores. Or maybe they rely on you for transportation, constantly requesting rides because their car is in the shop or they simply don't feel like driving. Whatever the request, it's a recurring theme in your interactions with them, a constant drain on your resources and your patience. While lending a helping hand is a kind and generous gesture, and an important part of maintaining family connections, the constant borrower rarely, if ever, reciprocates. They seem to take your generosity for granted, expecting you to continually bail them out without offering anything in return. This one-sided dynamic can leave you feeling used, resentful, and emotionally drained. You might find yourself hesitant to answer their calls, dreading the inevitable request that will follow. The constant borrowing can create a sense of financial strain, especially for those living on a fixed income in their 70s and beyond. Even small loans or favors can add up over time, creating an unexpected burden on your finances. Beyond the financial implications, the constant requests can also take a toll on your emotional well-being. You might feel guilty for saying no, worried about damaging the relationship or hurting their feelings. However, it's important to remember that you are not obligated to constantly bail them out. Your own financial security and emotional well-being are paramount, and you have the right to set boundaries to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. It's perfectly acceptable to say no to the constant borrower. You don't need to offer elaborate excuses or justifications. A simple, "I'm sorry, I'm not able to help you with that right now," is sufficient. It's important to be firm and consistent in your refusal, as this will eventually communicate that you are not an endless source of financial or practical support. You might also consider offering alternative solutions, like suggesting they contact a social service agency or explore other resources that can provide the assistance they need. This demonstrates your concern while also setting clear boundaries about your own limitations. If the constant borrowing stems from a genuine need, you might consider having an open and honest conversation with your relative. Express your concern about their financial situation and offer to help them explore long-term solutions, such as budgeting advice or financial planning resources. This approach can shift the dynamic from enabling their dependence to empowering them to take control of their finances. However, it's crucial to remember that you are not responsible for fixing their problems. Your role is to offer support and guidance, not to become their permanent financial safety net. By setting healthy boundaries with the constant borrower, you protect yourself from financial strain, emotional exhaustion, and resentment. You also encourage them to take responsibility for their own circumstances and seek sustainable solutions. Remember, saying no is not selfish. It's a necessary act of self-preservation, ensuring you can enjoy your golden years without the constant burden of someone else's financial or practical demands. Number 7. The Gossipmonger. This relative thrives on the thrill of sharing secrets, spreading rumors, and dissecting the lives of others. They are the town crier of family affairs, whispering the latest scandals and speculations with a mischievous glint in their eye. They relish in the drama, the intrigue, and the sense of power that comes from being in the know. They might embellish stories, adding their own interpretations and exaggerations to heighten the impact. They might even fabricate tales entirely, creating drama where none exists. Their conversations are peppered with phrases like, "Did you hear about?" or "Don't tell anyone but." They cast themselves as the keeper of confidential information, drawing you into their web of whispers and innuendo. Spending time with the gossipmonger can leave you feeling deeply uncomfortable. You might feel a knot in your stomach as they dissect the lives of others, judging their choices and speculating about their motives. You might worry about becoming the subject of their gossip, constantly looking over your shoulder and wondering what stories they might be spreading about you. Their negativity can be infectious, tainting your perspective on others and creating an atmosphere of suspicion and mistrust. In your 70s and beyond, when peace of mind and positive relationships become paramount, this constant exposure to gossip can be incredibly draining. It's crucial to resist the temptation to engage in gossip with the gossipmonger. Even if you're curious about the latest rumors, participating in these conversations only fuels the fire and reinforces their behavior. It can also damage your relationships with others, creating a sense of distrust and resentment. Remember, the people being gossiped about are often family members or friends, and participating in the gossip can betray their trust and damage your connections. One effective strategy for dealing with the gossipmonger is to politely steer the conversation away from gossip. When they start whispering about someone else's private affairs, try changing the subject to something more neutral. You can ask about their hobbies, their recent travels, or any other topic that doesn't involve discussing other people. Sometimes, a simple redirection can be enough to disrupt their gossiping pattern. If they persist in their attempts to spread rumors, you might need to be more direct. You can express your discomfort with the conversation, saying something like, "I'm not comfortable discussing this, it's not really my business," or, "I'd rather not talk about other people behind their backs." Setting this boundary can be uncomfortable, but it's important to prioritize your own values and protect your peace of mind. If the gossipmonger continues to disregard your boundaries, you might need to limit your interactions with them. This can be a difficult decision, especially if they are a close family member. However, protecting your own well-being is paramount, and sometimes limiting contact is the only way to avoid being dragged into their web of negativity. You can reduce the frequency of your visits, shorten the duration of your phone calls, or even choose to communicate primarily through less intrusive means like email or text messages. Remember, your golden years are a time for cultivating positive relationships and enjoying the peace and tranquility you deserve. Don't let the gossipmonger's negativity taint your perspective or disrupt your serenity. By setting boundaries and prioritizing your own well-being, you can protect yourself from the damaging effects of gossip and create a more positive and fulfilling social environment. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, please comment below with the number 7. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and allows us to keep bringing you these tips on life after 60 completely free. As we age, it becomes even more important to cultivate positive relationships and protect ourselves from energy-draining interactions. Setting boundaries with difficult relatives isn't selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. Remember, you deserve to enjoy your golden years in peace and tranquility. What are your thoughts? Share your experiences and tips for dealing with difficult relatives in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Like, comment, and subscribe to receive notifications and get the latest tips on life after 60. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.